Over the course of many number of episodes, the next 6 months to 1 year, you're going to join me in building this whole structure together. We'll talk about how to deal with contractors. We'll talk about procuring material, hiring, management, managing guests, bookings, everything. We are going to do it together over the next X number of episodes. I remember Warren Buffett once said, you either own an asset or an asset owns you. So what is the purpose of an asset and when an asset is most valuable? This series is going to be exactly about what it means to own an asset and under what circumstances an asset is most useful and valuable to you. 90% of you watching this will probably never do that in a lifetime. So what's the point of actually watching this? It gives you the complete dynamics of how an asset gets converted into cash generating one that can potentially replace you. And that's going to be the holy grail of any financial independence journey. For those of you, those 10% of you who end up doing something that I'm doing, this is probably the nuts and bolts of how real estate is converted into a cash generating asset.
Hey guys, welcome. Welcome back would be more appropriate. Yes, some things have kept me both personally and professionally very busy. So welcome back guys to another episode of Bottomline podcast. I have a very small team that is managing. Nobody is working full time on this. To even pull out one episode in a given month, besides my professional responsibilities and personal duties, is going to be difficult. But having said that, I'm back again on another video. So that should tell you about my commitment towards staying course in this game and also sharing information as much as possible, right information more specifically. Okay, without much further ado, let's just go to the conversation. So unlike any particular episode on any given day, where we take a particular topic and go in depth into the details of it, most often than not with examples. But this time it's going to be very, very different, and it's going to be a long journey because I believe you're watching this episode because my audience, their profile is most likely people who like to actively manage their money. So this episode is going to be super interesting for you, not just this episode. And this time it's going to be like a episodic series. And I don't know, this may become like a 10-part series or a 15-20 part series. The idea is, or let me set you the context. Throughout my videos, if you have followed me all this while, you guys know that I'm not a great proponent of real estate, particularly residential real estate, because the frills that comes with it is too much to manage, even for folks like you who actively manage your money. That's why I've always advised you guys to stay away from real estate investments. Now I'm going to, in this episode, for the contrary, talk about a real estate investment that I've actually made and why this is going to be making sense for a person with a particular character type like me, and that's going to be the essence of it. So let's go to the episode straight away. Yes, guys, I have acquired a land parcel, which is like an agricultural land. This I acquired in somewhere in the end of 2021, if my memory serves me right. It was an accidental purchase. My family has no background to agriculture whatsoever. We've all been, my fathers and forefathers have been industrious, and my dad was working in a bank for 30 years. So no connection with agriculture whatsoever. So it was a distress sale. It was an agricultural farming family. They had some loans that they had to repay, which has gone into an NPA. So they gave away a little bit of their largest stretch of land, and that's how I acquired it. And I stumbled upon YouTube. Some real estate company was selling it, and that's how I acquired it. Now it's been lying with me for a while. Quite a few things personally happened, and I never really cared about the land. Right, one, the cost of acquiring a land was very, very small. Well, not too small, but it's also not very significant amount that it required me to think about how I'm going to use that investment to convert into some cash generating probability. So having said that, I've been thinking about it, and like I'm always told that I'm not a proponent of residential real estate. And so what do I do with this, right? One, whenever I put money, I always think about the ways and means in which it can generate cash for me, right? Whether it is I'm buying a stock which can pay me dividend, or at least its value is growing, right? In which case I assume that I'm not going to get any money on a yearly basis, but at least when I exit the stock, whatever time it takes, 10 years, 20 years, nothing less than 10 years or nothing less than 7 years in a stock market, in an equity investing will make sense. And I want to address that to you guys as well. So what am I going to do with this land, right? One, because it's money that could have otherwise be invested somewhere else, which could be cash generating. So opportunity cost. And number two, it's a land parcel that's waiting to be made some use of. With that rather very long backstory, let me just straight away reveal what I'm going to do. Yes, I'm going to build a farmstay, which is actually a luxury farmstay in the outskirts of a very big tier 2 city in the south of India. I'm going to reveal the details as we go along. And this is also closer to where I was born, which is my hometown. And over the next 10 to 15 episodes, the idea is I'm going to take you through the journey of how I put this together from scratch, right? Because this is like a barren land. I acquired this land parcel, and it's currently at a stage where almost 50% of the construction of the farmstay is over, right? It's an half acre of agricultural land, and it was a barren land, and I planted trees and I made all provisions in that. And that's what we're going to discuss, of how the economics and the dynamics of building a farmstay. For all of you guys invested, probably you will never do this, what I'm doing, in your lifetime. But at least you're curious about how an asset is built and what are the pros and cons of building an asset in the real estate space, and how to manage it in order for it to be like a long-standing cash generating thing. And in addition to that, how do you multiply the value of the asset? So all of this is something that we will discover over the course of next 10-15 episodes, probably in the next 6 months. So I gave you the backstory on how I acquired this. 2021, there was an agricultural family. They had something to be put up on distress. I stumbled up on YouTube and I acquired this parcel. At that time, well, it was cool to own a piece of land, but beyond that, I didn't have much of an idea of what to do with it, right? And I've been thinking about it. There are multiple inquiries that came for buying the land back, but something kept me to not give away. And whenever I invest something, whatever it is, I look at the prospects of generating cash from the asset. And even I looked at this particular piece of real estate from that angle. And well, to be honest, there is a lot of investments that need to be, there's a lot of money that needs to be poured before I can make meaningful cash on an annual basis from this asset. And travel, residential real estate is out of question, because one, it's an agricultural land. It has to be converted to by DTCP, and the land area that I've acquired this land is not prospective enough to convert into a residential property. But most important of everything, I'm not interested in doing that. It may perhaps give you 3%, 4%, or best case 5% returns. I'm not interested in that. So what are the other options, right? The vacation home is one thing that I came. Why? Because in this era of artificial intelligence and everything, people's intention to travel is not going to. No AI is going to give you the experience of you going to a location, exotic location, a beachside or a mountain or anything. And that is not going to be replaced by AI, right? So people are going to travel, and their intention to travel is only going to increase because the workplace stress and a lot of other factors, right? So your need to unwind is going to be a constant, right? And how can I be taking part, or how can I be a beneficiary of that economic process or an economic phenomenon? That's where I told myself, maybe this isn't a bad idea, right? And my passion for travel has also convinced me that I can be in a better position to serve the guests, to understand their taste and preferences, and to give an experience that's slightly memorable or slightly unique compared to convention run-of-the-mill stuff, right? So, and then because of the property is closer to my hometown, property is closer to where I stay, it's 25 kilometers. So net, I'm going to summarize whatever the decision parameters that I chose into consideration before I decided that I'm going to give it a try, right? Number one, the proximity, because agricultural land, unlike a DTCP plot, is going to be a lot of effort. And number two, travel as a way to unwind with people, for people, is not going to go away. And number three, among all the real estate categories, I think short-term rentals is going to give you the maximum returns on an annual basis. And number 4 is that I am personally passionate about travel, and I think I can curate an experience which is much more unique than conventional stuff. So these are the things that I've decided to do. Now comes the advice part in this, and less of an advice and more of a recommendation, if you will. Agricultural land is a lot of effort. I've realized that firsthand. It's been 4 years and still the place is demanding work out of you. And guys, this is the single biggest reason why real estate may not be suitable for probably 80% of you, let alone agricultural piece of land. And number 2 is that if the land is not in proximity to your location, which means you can probably take your car and drive within like 1 hour, this is not going to be advisable because it will require you to manage it. Of course, you can delegate it, you can put somebody on which is also required, but your supervision, nobody is going to do as effective a job like you because it's your money on the line, right? And number 3 is that if you do not have the passion, if you do not have, and you're looking at purely from an economic standpoint, it's better to stay away from that. So the vision came, right? It was an accidental purchase, and I also said all the reasons in the previous segment about why I've chosen this. So the vision kind of sat together. I said that, okay, it's an half-acre plot and there are close to 150, 200 trees. It's not too close to the city that it feels like a part of the city. It's not too far that it feels like a lot of travel, right? So people, and the place does not have a lot of location advantage, which means you come into the property, you come purely for the property, right? So I have to curate an experience that's good enough for probably one night stay or maybe a weekend stay, right? And this is aimed at, my primary target segment is people in the city who are living in cramped up spaces, who want to like unwind and be in an open space, be closer to nature, and perhaps give an experience of 0 mile food logistics, which what it means is very, very simple. There's a small plantation where we grow vegetables and then we let you harvest the vegetables, and for your lunch or for your breakfast, we are going to be served what you have harvested at the end of the day. There's a small pleasure in kind of doing it yourself, and you're seeing the food coming to your table. So there's a notion of stuff being fresh as well. And I have a small swimming pool. So coming to the economics, over the next 10-part series, as I told you, there's a main villa which has got like a 5-bedroom, and then there's an adjacent building which has got a kitchen side of a semi-open kitchen which opens into a dining space, and the dining space has like a bar and a barbecue and a huge social space for the entire family to kind of come together. And the villa and the adjacent space kind of overlooks the swimming pool, and there are trees all around, and I'm planning to set up like a dine inside the garden. So there's a small space I've created, and that, well, of course, everything is a work in progress right now, and over the course of next episodes, of course, I'm not going to be sitting and with my bookshelf in the background. I'm going to take you guys to the farm, and we'll go through. I'll give you guys a tour over multiple episodes. And so, coming back to the point, this is I told you about the rough topography of how the Farmstay is going to look like. I've not unveiled the location and everything. I'll do that in the subsequent episodes. So the land parcel in 2021 took me approximately 20 lakhs. It's a half-acre of plot, and I paid 20 lakhs for it. It's going to be like almost 5 years in a little while. And what are the value additions I've done on the plot? I got a barren land, I said, so I do put up some fencing, so as a safety mechanism. And in addition to that, it is going to, if you're building a farmstay, at that time I had no idea that this is going to turn into a farmstay, but I've always fond of planting trees, so I wanted like a lush green setup. As soon as I step in, it's going to feel like a tropical forest or something like that. So my first aim was to plant trees, so I spent some money on the plantations of trees and everything. So I had to bring water, electricity, and only then planting trees will make sense, otherwise the maintenance will go for a toss. So the value addition, including getting a bore well done, getting some water sources established, getting the electricity from the department, and plantation of trees, and where to get the plantation of trees, all of that are nuances. And trust me guys, this is a lot of work, and it took me like approximately maybe a year to year and a half to get this setup going, right? Because you have to fight with bureaucracy for electricity, because you're in an agricultural land, and you have to look at the subsidies that are available for you, etc., etc. So I've done that, and all of this took me approximately 10 lakhs, right? And I've spent this not at one particular a particular time, and I've done this scattered across. And I've got some beautiful trees from a place near Vizag. So the place is known for like it's perennial. It's on the Godavari basin. So the trees which are grown from there are known to be better and known to be much more healthier. So I kind of airlifted that and got the plantation done. So a lot of perimeters is filled with timber, the mahogany timbers, and in the plantation in the farm there are a lot of fruit trees. So it's sort of, the vision is to make it like a fruit orchard, so that it also kind of becomes a source of supply of fruits and vegetables for the farm, right? Whenever guests, we want to serve guests stuff which are mostly grown in the farm itself, right? That's the ambition. And so over the course of 4 years, I've spent 10 lakhs. And coming to the construction is going to cost me approximately 1.5 to 2 crores, right? And yes, for somebody who puts everything on a spreadsheet, I also know that as the construction evolves, the vision is going to evolve. Like you put a small structure there, and maybe this structure does not have to be like a concrete structure. We'll put it on we'll construct it out of wood, and so on and so forth, right? So there are too much. It's like you writing a story, right? As you write the story, as the character evolves, then the story also takes its own shape, right? You get inspired by the journey itself. So I've kept it open, but net is going to cost me that much. Now let's come to the end of the episode. I've told you the economics of it, and we'll go deep into it, and you'll also have a tour of the property, and you look at the property in different stages of construction, right? Because the construction is due to be completed in 6 months. So when we do the last episode, of course, I'm going to show you the whole property when it's full glitz and glory, right? And so to conclude this episode, this may not apply to 80% of you guys, right? This is something that I'm building because I am an entrepreneur at heart. I have 2 failed enterprises behind me, and most of my career, it's been like 13 years since I've been in the industry. And I've been associated with 0 to 1 products. So startups are not not very strange territory for me. I've always been open to risk taking. Of course, now the risk is much more mathematics oriented, calculative, and yes, of course, as we age, that's a maturity that we build into how our decision systems are built. Now, so 80% of you may never do this, right? And I've always told that. Now you can ask me what percentage of my asset is tied to that, etc. I'll unveil that in the subsequent discussions as well. And I've always told you, even if you're going for real estate, of course, as Indians being a part of the middle class ecosystem, real estate constitutes more than 90% of your asset mix for most of the people, including the current generation, right, which are millennials and late millennials. But having said that, the general rule of thumb is do not go beyond 30% in real estate, right? And number 3 is that it's going to be a risky proposition. And now why I'm doing this? If I start a business and let's say I acquire some inventory which I wanted to liquidate as a part of my sales process, right? Let's say I do like a fashion business, right? I acquire some garments from somewhere and I keep it, and I'm the marketing guy. I acquire the garments from the manufacturer. I've given him the specifications and he has stitched the stuff, and I'm waiting for sales to happen. Now, for some reason, the company has folded out, right? And what will I do with the inventory? The inventory is called dead inventory, right? Now I have to work in order to liquidate the inventory and get the capital back from the inventory. Now, in this case, what I'm doing, the underlying asset is the property, right? And as we all know, the real estate property the process of selling it is going to be long. I'm not denying that, right? You don't sell the property today, the cash comes to you tomorrow, right? And also property which goes few crores in worth, the liquidation, as the value of the property goes higher, the liquidation process is going to take longer, right? Which I'm okay with that. But the underlying property, underlying asset, even in the event that this model were to tank, let's say for example, I run my Farmstay business for like 12 months only to discover that this is not going to work for me, right? For whatever reason, right? I can always find a buyer for the property, flip it away, and take the money back and go and invest happily in the markets, which doesn't require me on a maintenance on a monthly basis, right? So the underlying property has value, and the value is going to appreciate. That's appreciative in nature, right? Unless, of course, there are black swan events where there's a crash, something that happened in 2008. What are the odds that it will never happen in India? But if somebody is going to question like that, yeah, I'm always say that, possibility. There's a rare, distant possibility of that happening, but I'm not preparing for that. Yeah, that's a risk, but I'm okay to live with that risk, right? And number two, short-term rental is something that I can always put a team, right? My professional commitments require me not to focus on this, right? So I have somebody, and it's also something that's very close to my city. So it's a team that I can supervise, right? And that doesn't require my daily supervision, not even weekly supervision. Monthly, once I sit with them, I understand how the bookings are going. I understand how the property is maintained. Does it need some upkeep? Does it need some maintenance, etc., etc. All of that is going to be easy to maintain. So it's sort of like no frills. Of course, the process of finding a team is going to be critical, but that's a one-time effort, right? And once the team is instated, the property is fully done, and so the bookings are going to fall by, right? And I'm also, what is my expectation out of this, right? I do not want the property to recoup the capital expense, right? Capital expense meaning the money that I've used to purchase the land, the money that I burnt to bring the concrete structure up. I'm not expecting the property or the returns to cover my capital expense because the underlying asset is dead, right? And it's not the primary residence of me, right? So if managing that property requires certain sum of money, can it generate capital, which is more than that, which means the net income is going to be positive. And I'm going to give it a year for the net income to be positive. If it's not going to be positive, let's discuss the worst case scenario. I'm going to call it a day. That means this is not going to be my cup of tea. For whatever reasons, I'm not made for this. I'm going to liquidate the property. I'm going to move out and continue to maintain that real estate is not my cup of tea. And for that reason, a lot of people's cup of tea. It's always time taking, and it always requires high maintenance. Now, in the positive scenario, in the best case scenario, if it works, and working is equal to net income positive in 12 to 18 months, and I continue to keep this going as long as it goes, right? Maybe I'll acquire another property. It all depends on my headspace at that point in time and my energy to do something like this. So no big plans, but purely looking at it as a cash generating asset, because a land lying and with a mindset that maybe 10 years down the line it will triple my money is not how I think, right? If I put something, whether it's 20 lakhs, 30 lakhs, 50 lakhs, what is the additional money that is required for me to convert that barren piece of land into a cash generating asset, right? That's how I think, and this is how I did it. And hence, guys, we've come to the end of first episode. Yes, next 10-15 episodes we will discover everything. We'll go outdoor, we'll look at my farm, we'll look at how the constructions, different stage of constructions, and I'll discuss a lot more in detail the economics and the dynamics of running a farm stay. And not just it ends there. Once we start inviting guests from maybe June or July or 2026, we'll also understand how the business also runs on an ongoing basis. So thank you once again. I'll see you soon. Maybe I'll try to keep, I promise that I try to keep one episode a month, and if time permits, I'll do 2 episodes in a given month. But having said that, my farm stay construction, I'm going to build it with you guys, and you will be a part of every journey. And your comments are more than welcome. Any loopholes that you found, please feel free to comment, or you always have my email address that I give a part of description. So see you again super soon, and stay fit, stay healthy, and stay happy. Thank you, guys.